Welcome to today's first look video, guys. Has anyone seen Uma and Will? Oh yeah, they're at the airport. Can you imagine what their travelling is going to be like now? He lives in Newcastle, she lives in London. That is a very long way. It'll be interesting to see if their relationship actually lasts a particularly long time, but I'm sure we'll see them on After Sun and think, oh, they're so in love, or maybe we won't. Having said that, you know what's interesting? Ruby and Diamante seem to be out there, demolishing Love Island cliches and Love Island tropes one by one. Here they are talking about how performative the boys are, meaning something we always expected. They just perform for the cameras.
I do feel like a lot of people were quite performative in there. Like, they know, okay, camera's on, let's give them a show. Every time we'd have lunch or dinner, I remember saying to the girls, the boys don't look at us when we're eating. They was put at one side and we was put at the other. I was like, they don't even stare at us. They're not even flirting with their eyes. They're not even, you're like, woohoo. The only ones that were was Jess and AYO, but that was actually them by themselves. And I was like, that's weird. That's so strange. And I remember one day at lunchtime, Sean was putting sun cream on. And I thought, do you know what, I'm going to flirt. And I said, do you want me to put it on your back? He said, you can later. And I was just like, oh, okay, well, this is not when the cameras are on. Is that what you meant? It was off. Wow, that's performative. Save for the cameras. That's very performative.
Oh well, who would guess that a show would actually be a show, i.e. that not everyone's the way they behave in front of the camera. I'm not surprised, even though yes, Love Island's supposed to be about a connection with someone, but do you really stare at people when they're eating? Do you stare at your partner when they're eating and gaze into their eyes? I don't. I'm more interested in just eating my food, to be honest, but maybe that makes me a callous man who lacks any romantic sensibilities. And on the subject of romantic sensibilities, let's look into today's first look press release. And yeah, things are happening and they're kind of what you'd expect, but what some of you certainly don't want to hear. It's a new day in the Love Island villa and AYO is making Jess S breakfast in the kitchen, but the eggs he is making aren't the only things that are scrambled when MIMII comes over for a chat. Speaking about last night's dumping, she says, when you guys were stood up there, I had a little tear. I was praying in my head, that they wouldn't say your name. AYO asks, it would have been easier for you if I went, no? MIMII answers, no, I would have been upset. AYO says, what kind of place is this? And MIMII jokes, living with your ex and your new girlfriend. Kieran is quick to seek answers from AYO in the kitchen after watching the flirtation, saying, don't make me fish it out of you, mate. I think you should go for it. But the conversation is quickly interrupted as Jess S comes over for breakfast, but with AYO's head now in a spin, is it really the end for him and MIMII? Okay, so those of you who comment on my videos and say, AYO and MIMII will never get back together, now the actual official press release is speculating on that, so please put the blame on the Love Island producers, not me. But it's clear Kieran is seeing something too. Now obviously this is a narrative, they want us to believe this so we keep on watching. It may never happen, but I've got to admit there is still some chemistry there between AYO and MIMII, and it's really not, I think, friendship chemistry, it's boyfriend-girlfriend chemistry. Don't like that? Argue among yourselves, okay? Please. Meanwhile, Josh has a plan up his sleeve to woo MIMII and cheer her up with a delicious breakfast. Whilst he gets to work in the kitchen, he recruits Ruben and Matilda to help distract her, bringing her to the den so she can't witness the proceedings. As Josh prepares the terrace for her arrival, Ruben takes MIMII up to meet him, where he is waiting to surprise her with the Josh special of waffles and fresh fruit. As the two take a seat and tuck in, MIMII says, wow, 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 I don't even know what to say right now. I'm shaking. Josh explains, I feel like over the last few days you've had a few rough days with Uma going and Jess leaving yesterday, so I was like, let me do something to cheer her up a little bit, so I hope this brightens up your day. MIMII admits, this has made my whole day, thank you so much. But as sparks fly for the two on the terrace, will Josh's surprise have worked a treat? Or does she still have eyes for AYO? So once again, guys, the official press release is pointing us towards MIMII and AYO getting back together. Not me saying this, that's the press release. I am not sadly convinced about Josh yet. There's something about him that I don't know. I feel like he does like Mimi, but I feel like he also likes Grace. And even though he's doing these great things to Mimi, I do feel like they feel quite forced. You know, we've seen this arc so many times in previous Love Island seasons where one islander wants to impress the girl, he gets them to distract with a stupid little plan, and we're all supposed to giggle and laugh, then he surprises her with a romantic gesture that blows her away. So this is nothing new. But yeah, I'm still not convinced about Josh and Mimi. There's something about Josh that, I don't know, maybe you feel the same way, or maybe you absolutely love the guy and think he's absolutely perfect for her. In which case, good for you! After a day in the sun, the islanders receive a text which reads, "Islanders, it's time to get ready for tonight, as the villa will be hosting an exclusive party. Hashtag WKD 0%. So obviously, this means it's going to be a party sponsored by WKD for their 0% beverages. As they excitedly head to get ready for the night's proceedings at the 0% party, unbeknownst to them, there's a surprise in store waiting for them in the form of a brand new bombshell, goodness me, ready to stir things up. Later that night, Joey receives a text which reads, "Boys, Lolly is at the hideaway retreat, waiting to date 3 boys. Joey, she has chosen you first. Please make your way there now. Hashtag VIP guest list only." As Lolly sits down for her first date in the villa with Joey, she doesn't hold back. Explaining how she feels about Joey's current couple with Jessie, she says, "I think your personality and my personality would go together to a T, but I've got something to say. You've kind of gone back into your shell a little bit from the beginning. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like you're jokey, laughy and fun, but since you've been with Jessie, she's a gorgeous, gorgeous girl. She's naturally beautiful, but I don't know if there's something missing between you both." Wondering how their date is going, Jessie says to the girls, "Karma's a B word, and she's called Lolly. If she can take him, then she can have him." But as Lolly reveals she has her eyes on Joey, and he is faced with some home truths, how will he react? And what will Lolly's other dates have in store that evening? Another bombshell, guys. Again, very strange, because in the press they've been saying how there were too many couples and they needed to cull them. And over the last few days we've seen that happen, right? So we saw 2 couples get dumped, didn't we? Then we saw 2 new bombshells come in. Last night we had another 2 couples go. They weren't couples, but 4 people left. And now they're bringing in another bombshell. So it seems like with every 3 or 4 people they kick out, they're bringing one in. I just think it's still uneven. I thought we were kind of on the home straight here. Why are we still bringing bombshells in when I'm fairly sure in a few weeks it's over? I think what they're doing, to be honest, everyone, is they're bringing in bombshells and new people to make up for the lack of challenges and to make up for the lack of drama from those challenges that could have happened that they've obviously decided not to shoot because they want to preserve budget. So I feel like we're just getting bombshells coming in to stir things up, causing drama, blah, blah, blah. And what's happening a lot of the time is the new ones are coming in and the old ones are being kicked out, even though they kind of deserve a bit more time to stay, I think. But there we go. I don't know who Lolly is going to hook up with. I don't know how it's going to work. But I do feel like it was perhaps not necessary. But maybe this is why the viewing figures are so good, because this season of Love Island has managed to maintain 1.5 million, which is pretty good when you consider that the last few seasons have been heading on a downward trajectory. So maybe this is the formula they've struck on that they say is going to maintain a steady viewership. Let me know what you think. You're going to watch it tonight, right? It'll actually be on at normal time, 9 PM tonight, and we'll enjoy it together and have a good old laugh. Well, at least one laugh. Maybe half a laugh. No laughs at all.